Well, right here we have a picture of Rabbi Yosef Chaim Mimran. Remember, Rabbi Mimran is a great scholar. If you just met him, you may not know this automatically. He has a big beard, of course. And he has, but you would only know that through his writing. So now we're going to come over here. He started out the book, the first half of the book, let's say, up to this point, has really been talking about mind control and what the egoic mind is all about. But now he's going to go into another place, and this is over here in chapter 4. And we're going to take some time to go through these chapters now because they're actually getting us involved in understanding the techniques. What are the techniques that Kabbalists have used over the generations? So here's a piece that's come from Shari Kedusha, Rabbi Chaim Vital. And it says like this, we'll try to understand it as best we can as we need to apply it. Now let me just give you an example. He says, when I'm davening the Shemona Esrei, and I'm speaking, and I'm in the most, according to Kabbalists, the most intimate time of prayer, when I'm in this particular position, I have all kinds of thoughts invading my prayers. So it shuts down all kinds of techniques in order to be able to keep your thoughts pure on the text or what you're trying to say or what you're praying for. But it's very difficult because the thoughts keep invading. But here's somebody that's coming along and trying to give us techniques by which we can actually get beyond that, or at least work with it, because it's a given that that's part of who we are. Now it says like this, the soul is comparable to a very long branch that sprouts forth from its roots, which is attached to the tree and extends into the body of man. Now, Kabbalistically, you could look at this in one of two ways. One is lengthwise, what they call lengthwise. Lengthwise means that the branches of the tree are extending from a root which is beyond us, up above us, and then into us and branches out into us. Another way of looking at this is that it's inside of us, and that it is actually the kernel of what real infinity is about, and branches out into the body of the man. Now, while a person desires to connect to its source, the light of his mind, that is, the light that ignites the mind, which was referred to as the thing being perceived by the perceiver. Let's go over these words again, try to understand them, because we spent some time on this before, and now I'm going back of it. This is like really my third time looking at this. While a person desires to connect to his source, so what is he saying here? Is that we are cut off. We're in a world of separations. We are a world where even male and female, which we see in the Torah is telling us that male and female are really one. The female aspect of the male and the male aspect of the female. There's really oneness in all of that, but we live in a world where that's not obvious at all. And as a matter of fact, the opposite is true. So what we really want with the neshama within is that eternity that is within it wants to connect to its source. And he says that the source is what? It's the light of his mind. It's the light of a person's mind. This is Rabbi Chaim Vital speaking. What's the source? The source of a person's neshama is a light, but it precedes the mind. But he says the light of his mind, which is referred to as the thing being perceived by the perceiver. That there is such an aspect as a perceiver. And the light of this mind, my understanding, that which is being perceived, which is more concrete, is being seen by the receiver. Also known as the perceptual soul. Now, what those words are in Hebrew, I don't know. This is a translation. Goes up to the eternal mind itself. That connection, he says like this, there is a mind. The mind of the perceiver is connected to the perpetual, the eternal mind itself, which is actually the higher root of a person's soul. So there are all different kinds of manifestations of this concept of soul, because this is soul that moves my finger, the four that has feeling in it, the four that the soul, which is my physical body, but there's more. There's the inspiration of breath. Where did breath come from? And then he starts getting into this higher level. Well, wait a minute. Where did mind come from? There they attach to each other and become one through meditation, thus creating an energy bond which comes from the mind to the perceiver. So this, let's go back over this. So that the original or the root of this mind soul that he's talking about, they attach to one another and become one. And this is a result of meditation, Jewish meditation. Thus, creating an energy bond which comes from the mind to the perceiver. It follows that he will perceive the light and the energy itself. Now, what he's trying to say is that it's very difficult ideas, not for me at any rate. So we got the idea of through meditation could cause the lower element, which is the soul of a person, in its various aspects, thus creating an energy bond between the two levels of the soul that is manifest in physicality, which is where we live, and the inner aspect of that soul from the mind to the perceiver. Now, exactly, I'm still looking for the word understanding of the perceiver. The perceiver is like a more passive word for looking at something. It's to perceive it. So he means to say more passive, it means that it's less concrete, which means it's more spiritual. It follows that he will perceive the light and the energy itself. So the perceiver, I guess he means to say both on both ends. That the mind itself is a perceiver, the ultimate source of all mind is a perceiver, and that we ourselves are able to perceive that connection. It then transcends from the mind to the thinking soul. This energy and tangible light is the concept called thought. He says machshava, again, the energy that is the connected energy, and there is a tangible light. What does the light mean? Consciousness or awareness or perception is the concept called thought. Understand this well, because this is not an empty concept. If understood, then you have nullified all the concepts. He said, if misunderstood, then you have nullified all the concepts. So what does it mean to be misunderstood? What I mean misunderstood is that we don't see a connection on a higher level. We're not able to perceive that. And again, I say that the word perceive really is it's not the same as seeing or looking at. It's like a secondary or tertiary awareness. That's that awareness that Rabbi Mimran was talking about earlier. He says, if this is misunderstood, though, then you have nullified all the concepts pertaining to meditation, the meditation that comes through prayer, and all the thoughts of man, whether good or bad. This is Baruch Fleischman, and that's the introduction to this concept of here that we're going to start moving more into the experience of mind.